Here, I have an old digital receiver that is no longer being used. But instead of throwing it away, today I'm going to reuse it to build a homemade antenna. Can a broken device like this really be turned into a working antenna? Let's find out. First, I remove the screws to open the casing of the digital TV receiver. After removing the cover, I inspect the internal components and find that some of them can still be reused for this project. Next, I disassemble the internal parts of the receiver for a closer inspection. After checking the components, I find that the receiver's circuit board is still usable. First, I use a soldering iron and solder wire to create 4 new solder joints on the circuit board. These solder joints will provide solid contact points for connecting the wires to the circuit board. Next, I prepare 2 small electrical wires to serve as connection wires for the antenna system. First, I strip the ends of the wires to expose the copper cores inside. Then, I solder the wire ends firmly onto the solder joints prepared on the circuit board. This creates a connection path between the circuit board and the antenna components, preparing the system for the next assembly steps. Every like and subscription motivates me to create more creative DIY projects. Thank you so much for your support. After securing the wires with solder, I reassemble all the parts of the digital TV receiver back into place. This video is for educational purposes only and is intended for DIY enthusiasts. Projects involving soldering, electricity, and mechanical tools can involve potential risks. Always wear appropriate protective equipment, follow proper safety procedures, and use tools correctly. Do not attempt any dangerous procedures if you do not have the necessary knowledge or experience. Here, I have a broken phone, which I'm going to reuse as the signal receiving component of the antenna. Next, I prepare 3 cables with connectors to create the connections between the phone and the digital TV receiver. First, I strip the ends of 2 of the cables to prepare them for wiring. Then, I strip the end of the phone charging cable to expose the small wires inside. I keep the red and black wires and cut away the remaining wires because they are not needed for this connection. Next, I strip the ends of these 2 small wires to expose the copper cores. Then, I twist one connector wire securely to the red wire of the phone charging cable. After that, I wrap electrical tape tightly around the connection. The tape helps hold the wires in place, protects the contact point, and prevents the connection from becoming loose during use. I repeat the same process with the remaining connector and connect it to the black wire of the phone charging cable. At this point, the basic connection wires are prepared and ready for the next stage of assembly. Then, I apply a layer of hot glue to the top cover of the digital TV receiver and firmly attach the broken phone on top. This keeps the phone securely in place and allows it to serve as the external signal receiving component of the antenna system. Next, I connect the 2 plugs from the phone charging cable to the corresponding connection ports on the digital TV receiver. Next, I will use a section of signal cable to connect the antenna to the TV. First, I strip the insulation from one end of the cable to expose the conductive core inside. This prepares the cable end for attaching the connector and helps ensure a stable signal connection. Then, I attach the cable end to a TV connector jack. This connector allows the cable to connect directly to the antenna input on the TV, making the installation more convenient. Next, I wrap electrical tape tightly around the joint to secure the connection and protect the contact point from becoming loose or short-circuiting during use. I also prepare the other end of the cable in the same way to create another matching connection point. Finally, I connect the other end of the signal cable to the connection port on the back of the digital TV receiver. Now, I'm going to test it in real-world conditions to see how effective it really is. First, I'll switch to a TV channel to check the signal reception without connecting the antenna. As you can see, without the antenna connected, the TV only displays the message, no signal. I'll connect the DIY antenna to the signal input on the back of the TV for the actual test. And here is the result. Almost immediately after connecting the antenna, the TV channels begin to appear. The picture is clear, the colors remain stable, and there are no continuous signal interruptions. To make the test more convincing, I'll perform one more experiment. I disconnect the antenna from the TV and observe the signal changes. As soon as the antenna is unplugged, the screen instantly returns to the no signal message. All channels disappear, confirming that the signal truly came from this homemade antenna. Now, I'll reconnect the antenna once again. As you can see, within just a few seconds, the channels reappear and continue working normally. This proves that many electronic parts that seem to have only one purpose can be reused in completely different and surprisingly useful ways. Not only does this save money, but it also opens the door to many more exciting DIY ideas. If you enjoyed this project or found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support motivates me to continue creating more repair, recycling, and DIY projects in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.